Hey everybody, and welcome to the first of a new type of video that I hope to do more of on this channel. We are going to do a list, because listing things is fun, apparently. Anyway, so, when I put the spreadsheet together, I found a whole bunch of games that I loved when I reviewed them, and then I completely forgot about them. And it wasn't until I was going and putting the spreadsheet together that I was like, oh man, this game. And the funny thing about it is when I recorded the footage for these games, first of all, there's a lot of them where I completely forgot the controls and the footage is bad and I die a lot and it's really sad. And I may not have been as bad at the games at one point, but I'm bad now. So it is what it is. But the other thing is that for each and every one of these, I recorded way more footage than I needed because every single one of these games I could just get lost in. They're super much fun. Highly recommended. These are some true hidden gems that I hid from myself. And let's do it to it. Here we go. Number 10, Devious Dungeon. Devious Dungeon is, this is Devious Dungeon 1. There is a Devious Dungeon 2, which will appear on another list, very similar to this one. Anyway, Devious Dungeon 1 is an action roguelite, because you can purchase upgrades that will stick with you and remain, increases to character stats that will remain, you can purchase weapons that you will keep even after death, but every time you die, you go back to the beginning and start it all over, and procedural generation and the whole thing. I just love the feel of this game. Hitting enemies feels exactly right. The hitboxes are precise. The controls are tight. And I love the way the coins drop and bounce. It reminds me rather of Panic Restaurant, one of my favorite NES games that I do not own a physical copy of because I didn't buy it when it was only $100 and now it's more $100. Anyway, regardless, Devious Dungeon 1, very fun, very much enjoyable. Number 9, 12 is better than 6. 12 is better than 6 is a top-down shooter released in 2015 by Inkstain Games, and it is a hand-drawn style top-down shooter. Think, kind of Hotline Miami-ish, except there's more stealth elements. There's, hiding in outhouses and behind barrels and behind wagons and whatnot. I've forgotten how to stealth, and so you're going to see me die a lot, a whole bunch, I'm only going to show you a portion of the footage that I recorded, but it is impossible that I will show you any portion in which I stay alive for any successfully long amount of time. Regardless, the game is super much fun. I love the hand-drawn art style. I love the sense of humor in the game. And I love its vibrant Old West feel. It's just good. It's just a good game. Next up, number 8, we have Vektor Wars. Vektor Wars was released in 2015 by Reset Games, and it is Battlezone, basically. Like, let's not kid ourselves. This is basically Battlezone. And there is, I saw a fan of the game put up a thing where apparently if you make it a certain length enough into it, one of the bad guys from Tron, those stompy type of things where the legs fold in and then they try and stomp you dead, from Tron. I forget what they're called. You're probably screaming it at your monitor right now. The stompy ones. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Anyway, there's those in there. Regardless, the game is Battlezone, and you love Battlezone because it's one of the best games ever, And yeah, this has the spirit of the Battlezone, but has added some new weapons, some new wrinkles, and it's very much fun. Very much a good time. I love it when a game, reaches for that retro feel and nails it perfectly. And that's exactly what Vektor Wars does. Highly recommended. Love it. Number 7. The Vagrant, which was released in 2018 by OTK Games. The Vagrant, let's get this part out of the way. There is massive amounts of jubbly-wubbly fan service in this game. There are some busty lasses, and indeed your main character is herself a busty sort of a lass. There's no getting around it. That's how she was designed. That's how the game is built. But beyond that, this is a very solid, like, hack and slashy, beat 'em uppy type of action adventure game with, just enough story to make you interested and make you like, oh, I'm doing a thing. I'm helping people. This is good. And then you go around swinging your sword, jibbling your jubblies, and it's very much fun. It's very well done, and I was surprised when I was looking at this how cheap it is, even when it's not on sale. This is a very solid game, very fun, very well made, and I just like it. I like it. I'm not always that guy who is like, yes, the fan service games, because some of them legitimately bother me, but this one, solid. I will forgive all of the jibbly-jubbliness and the unnecessary nature of, like, girl, you got put on some clothes, you're gonna fight with a sword. But whatever, the game is good, the game is fun, and I recommend that you play it. And like I said, it's cheap even when it's not on sale. When it's on sale, it's even cheaper. Next up, number 6, it's A.R.E.S. And it's there's a whole extinction agenda. There's like multiple different versions of it. It was supposed to be released episodically. It was made in 2011. Well, the first version of it was released in 2011. The developer Extend Studio is an independent developer from Thailand, and they might be the only independent developer in Thailand releasing games of note. I don't know. I just don't hear a lot of game development coming out of Thailand. That's just, maybe I'm crazy. But the fact is that they've been developing this for a while. It was supposed to have multiple episodes. You can get a complete edition, and there's not that much episodic content. But the game is actually super much fun. It's a platform shooter, run and gun type thing. And the sprite is your main character sprite. When you start playing, you're like, why is my dude almost obnoxiously large? He takes up a lot of space on the screen. Regardless of that, he moves around well. It's controlled well. It plays very fun. Like, I found myself sucked into it as I was playing it again to get the footage that you are watching right now. Yeah, very much a fun game, and very much a little hidden gem, something that I had completely forgotten about. Now, this next one, number 5, Dreaming Sarah. I didn't remember liking this game. That's the funny thing, is that I thought it was a different game. There was a different game about dreaming, and it was terrible, and I thought that that's what this game was. And then I found out, like, no, I rated this highly when I was putting together the spreadsheet, and I was like, well, why did I rate this highly? And so I went back and I revisited it, and I was like, oh, this is a whole thing. I remember this game now. It is Metroidvania, but it's not your standard, like, run and gun or hack and slash or beat 'em up type of Metroidvania. It is explorational and experiential. It's all about the experience. It is like, think about games like Journey, where it's not as much about, racking up high scores or beating up baddies. It's about the journey, which is why Journey is called Journey. But Dreaming Sarah is like, there's a little bit of mystery to the game. And it doesn't really hold your hand too much, but you can figure things out. The hints are there. It does give you the information that you need. I remember when I figured out there are these little things that you can tilt different directions, and at first I was like, what the crap are these? I have no idea what this is. And then when I figured out what they actually do, I was like, oh, that makes so much sense, and there's little things like that in the game that you just, you figure things out, you feel smart for doing it, so there's a little bit of puzzling. It's Metroidvania, so you are going to be doing some backtracking. There are some fetchy type fetch quests, but like, they're never ones, like, typically they're not ones that you get sent on and then you go in the direction and you get a whole bunch of like, okay, march in this direction and get this for this person. There's always stuff to do along the way and things to discover and new places to go and new abilities to unlock. And so, yeah, it's really, really fascinating, and I really like this game. So, yeah. Came out in 2015 by Asteristic Game Studio. I don't know the studio, and I don't know what else they've ever made, but this one is really, really good. So I definitely recommend it. Up next, number 4, Shooting Stars. Came out in 2016. Flum. Yes, I can say words. Flum Blood Irony is the developer, and this game is hilarious because you are literally shooting stars. You're shooting celebrities, and if you, like me, are not like in total love with celebrity culture, or maybe even if you are, gunning down like slightly differently named celebrities that you definitely still know who they are is kind of fun. And it's, it's not quite, it's a little bullet hellish in the boss battles, but otherwise it's kind of just standard vertical shootery. But it's fun. It's super much fun, and it's got a silly sense of humor. There's a ton of really interesting pickups and power-ups and whatnot. And I found myself just, in love with the game all over again. And I didn't remember, like, I thought, because I have played some wannabe Broforce type games, and I thought that's what this was going to be, because I had forgotten these games. And when I picked it up again, I was like, oh, right, this is super much fun. It's like vertical shooter, but you're shooting celebrities. And that's funny. Trust me. You just, look at the footage. If it looks fun to you, then you will understand why it is, in fact, quite a bit of fun. Next up, number 3 is Ghost 1.0, which was released in 2016 by @UnEpicFran. That's the same developer that made Unepic and made Unmetal and made a bunch of other things, all of which appear to be super good. I have Unepic. It was actually gifted to me by a friend of mine who was like, you have to play this game. And sadly, I have not played it. It's been in my library for over a year, and I have not played it. And that means that I'm a bad friend. I'm sorry. But yeah, regardless, I have played this one, which I purchased for myself, because I'm selfish, apparently. No, but Ghost 1.0, I bought because I actually bought a game called Mini Ghost first, because Mini Ghost was like one of these 99-cent games that you can pick up for nothing, and it was this, super fun little Metroidvania in a pixel art style, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. And so eventually I was like, well, I have to play the mama game of this game, and that mama game is Ghost 1.0. And this is, yeah, very much Metroidvania style. But here's the fun thing, is that you play as this like secret agent who is hired by these two dudes who are kind of doofuses, but they're having you infiltrate this base. You're doing some like corporate espionage, and yeah, it's got a really funny sense of humor because like your character is this awesome spy lady who is having her essence projected into these like robots that they can 3D print at the 3D printing stations inside this corporate office, because they're hacking in and they're 3D printing the robots that you can then send your like ghost into, and then control it and do all the awesome things that you as a secret agent do. And yeah, is super awesome, super much fun, great sense of humor, great level design, super great. Also, it's a Roguevania, so it is Metroidvania, but it's got those roguelite elements that you can develop the character, pick up pickups that you can then keep after death, which is awesome. Anyway, so yeah, that's Ghost 1.0, a very fun game, very cool. If you like roguelites, if you like Metroidvanias, you could certainly do much worse. This is, yeah, it is beloved. It is a beloved game. There are people who probably know about this one, but I had forgotten about it because I have a lot of games. Anyway, the last two games are from the same developer. I didn't even realize it, and when I realized it, I was like, oh my god, these guys are crushing it. Very much the same way that I realized Zeboyd Games, the makers of, you know, Cthulhu Saves the World, Breath of Death 7, also the makers of Cosmic Star Heroine, which is an excellent RPG. Yeah, so I went through and I bought all of the Zeboyd games because every single one of them is fantastic. I'm going to do the same with these. I'm going to do the same with this developer. I'm just going to get all the other games when they're on sale. These are things that I'm going to be looking to pick up during the winter sale when it comes. But anyway, number 2 on our list is Super Trench Attack, which was released in 2014 by Retro Army. That's our fun developer who makes cool things. And this is like, it's made to look like an old DOS game, except for it's hilarious. It's super hilarious. You know, the graphics are intentionally goofy, and that just makes it fun. You know, you're in a World War I type of trench warfare thing, and you're fighting these baddies. And it's so funny. Like, everything about the game is hilarious. And, yeah, you go through, there are all these, like, secret caves and tunnels and things that you gotta root the bad guys out of, you know, blow up all their secret bases, kill all the bad guys, cause a lot of mayhem and damage. And yeah, is a whole lot of fun, an absolute blast. And yeah, as you can see, I forgot all of the controls and am bad at it. Actually, I really forgot the controls to Ghost 1.0, so you saw some terrible footage there. Equally bad in Super Trench Attack. Some of these games I really need to relearn, but I was like, no, I'm going to record new footage. I'm not just going to reuse the footage that I already have. I'm going to record new footage. And so that means some of my gameplay is awful, and apologies for that. But at least I hope you see that these games are super fun. Last but not least, number 1. The Spy Who Shot Me, released in 2019 by Retro Army, and this is a very loving spoof of like GoldenEye, basically, of all those like 90s PS1 era, polygon era. Like, they've gone extra much on the polygons to make things look kind of ridiculous, and it's so perfect. The game just feels exactly like it should, and it's so funny, it's so fun, it's great controls, great gameplay, very inventive, very silly. The thing that it reminds me of is the No One Lives Forever series, a very much beloved and similarly silly spy-based video game that was actually from that era. And yeah, so first of all, if you've never played No One Lives Forever, I'm sorry, like, those games are impossible to get now. They haven't been ported to anything because they're stuck in like copyright hell, where the rights to re-release those games are being perpetually held up by greedy people. I think that's the story. I could be wrong, could be something else, but I think that's what it is. And it's just impossible to play those games now. Luckily, I have the original discs. I'm going to try. I found them when we moved. I was like, yes, I knew I had these somewhere. And so I'm going to try to replay those games. I'll do a review for the channel. You'll be able to see, if you've never seen No One Lives Forever 1 and 2, both very fun, very excellent games. Actually, No One Lives Forever 2, I think you can get, don't quote me on this, on the PS2? Maybe? It got a console release. Part 2 did. Part 1 did not. Pretty sure. Could be wrong. Working from memory. Not taking notes. Rambling endlessly. Anyway, The Spy Who Shot Me is very silly, very fun, just like that. And boy, what a game. What a fun time. If you loved playing GoldenEye back in the day, this is the game for you. Anyway, so yeah, that is my, 10 games that I completely forgot about. 10 overlooked hidden gems on Steam that even I forgot about. So each and every one of them, go find them on sale. Steam sale will be here in, let's see, a couple of weeks. It's coming up. Glad I got that database done. Anyway, people, thanks for being here for this one, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.